Hello, my name is Tarissa Day, although when I was at Winedale, it was Tarissa Trell. In the spring of 1997 was my first encounter. I did not do the summer of 97 because I was still recovering from the spring of 97, I think. But I did do the summer of 98, which was the first summer they went to the Globe. They had a separate group out at Winedale working on the Hamlet for the Globe that summer. And then I went back for one more in the summer of 99. Yes, so if I were to describe Shakespeare at Winedale in one word, for me, it would be challenge. Challenging, maybe. Doing Shakespeare at Winedale challenged me in the best way on so many levels. The first, I came into the program in that spring of 97 with a very academic approach, pretty much to everything in life. I was very academic. But definitely an academic approach to Shakespeare. You know, writing papers on domestic violence in Shakespeare and misogyny and, you know, things like that. So it challenged the way I thought of Shakespeare. It challenged my my thoughts on its themes and what some of the plays meant, and you know, they even just like down to like singular word meanings. I learned so much about Shakespeare's writings through performing them and saying the words out loud and having other words said back. Like it just took on a whole new life for me that way. So that was a challenge. I was challenged personally for sure, because I am really pretty much an introverted wallflower, and having to get up and be silly and do improv and say these words out loud and have a lot of people watching me do it was very foreign and not my comfort zone. In fact, I tried to cue drop the class in that spring and Doc wouldn't let me. He wouldn't give approval. So I stuck it out. So that was a huge personal challenge and triumph for me to do that. But, you know, kind of obviously, as I mentioned with the academic part, like through that, you know, I was challenged mentally. I was challenged physically. You know, I was challenged emotionally too. It's, you know, it's a lot, you know, coming together with, you know, strangers at the beginning who really become your family by the end. And so there's, you know, the challenges with all of that. So when I think back on Winedale, I love a good challenge. So when I think back to Winedale, I think of how it challenged me. And there are still times today when I know I need to dig deep. Winedale comes to mind. I'm like, you did it. Yes, you survived it. You can do this too. So challenge would be my word, and the best possible light. Challenge. Okay, so thinking back to my time at Winedale and thinking of, you know, a memory that stands out to me. There are so many. You know, summer is the longer session, right? It's the more immersive, or it is the immersive session. But spring probably had the biggest impact on me. And I think about that class and you know, honestly, probably the people who are still truly in my life today from Winedale were from that spring class. not, you know, that I didn't make strong connections in the summer, but that first spring class was very impactful. And, you know, when I think about it, you know, I just think about my hesitancy. So I think when I go to memories of Winedale, you know, there are like, you know, now 23 years later, you know, some of them are fuzzy, but, you know, the music, the sunrises, the sunsets, the lake, the cows, you know, there's a lot of funny memories, the cows, getting out. And I think there's one memory that does always, it's such a strong memory for me. And I think I even talked about it during the last reunion conversation. And, you know, my first summer at Winedale, we did 12th Night, we did A Winter's Tale, and we did Love's Labor is Lost. And I would say that we were collectively as a group broody. I don't know what else to say. We were a bit of a broody group, a bit of, you know, a bit cerebral. Like Winter's Tale was on, like that level of intensity and darkness, and we were in that one to win it. 12th Night, comedy, yes, but lots of whining and pining, and so we were good at that one. Love's Labor's Lost was a disaster because, I mean, it's basically one long rom-com poem, right? So it's tripping and light and dancey and musical, and, you know, we could not get there as a group for whatever reason. And, you know, there was just this one night where we were just, a poor play, we were just hammering this play to death. I mean, you would have thought we were wearing concrete shoes the way we walked onto that stage and interacted with each other. There was nothing fun. There was nothing light about it. And I remember Doc coming out in his little truck and pulled up, and he watched it for a few minutes. And I mean, it was so bad. And he told us just to forget it. And we should call it and throw in the towel. And, you know, we were never going to get it. And I felt so upset. And I ran out to him. I was like, you know, we're really trying. And he said, trying to do what? And I said, we're trying to play. And he goes, is that what you call playing? And, you know, I was probably a little angry, to be honest, but he was 100% right. And, I just remember like slogging back into the barn and looking around, and he was so right. I mean, everyone's faces, I mean, we looked like we all weighed 1,000 pounds. Like we just could not do it. And so we were like, what are we going to do? Like, how do we do this? And I don't know who suggested it, but we ended up standing in a circle and just singing like silly songs for a little while. And then someone else suggested we play hide and seek. And so we were playing hide and seek all over the place and just totally forgetting about the play. Like we not in any sort of mental space to do the play. We were playing hide and seek. I think at some point, you know, we played like Duck, Duck, Goose. I want to say we played Duck, Duck, Goose out in the grass. And I mean, it was getting into the wee hours. And I just remember heading back to the dorms, and we were like serenading the cows and just yodeling. And it was like, I think the first time as a group that we just relaxed and acted silly and sang. And, you know, we came back the next day and we did it. Like we were funny together, and we were silly together, and we allowed ourselves to fall in love and fall out of love and pretend not to notice they were in disguise. You know, like we allowed ourselves to be silly. And that is something I still have to remind myself to do today. Like as I, you know, tromp through life and, you know, gosh, everything we've been through the past couple of years, I do still think about that moment. And I still think about how important it is to just get a little silly sometimes. Sorry, I got emotional for some reason. Winedale does that to me still. How has Shakespeare at Winedale factored into my life since then? You know, it's so funny. When I think about it, it was, you know, for me, it was 24, 23 years ago. Just, you know, a chunk of time. But, and there are times when it, you know, I can't ever say I forget about it, because I don't. I feel like it's always just a little bit there with me, and a lot of things. So I think the reminder to play, to just play, you know, and that doesn't necessarily always mean being silly, just to say yes. Whatever crazy idea it is, however wrong you know it is, sometimes you just have to say yes and try it. And you know, you can get to a result, you know, a different way. So that's part of it. It taught, you know, it taught me that. It taught me, you know, I was always very much and I can still be this way. And so this is where it does factor in my life too. You know, I should just do it myself because I'll do it right. And letting go of that control and trusting a team, like that they'll do what they're supposed to do, and you do what you're supposed to do, and you end up with this beautiful conclusion. You know, you end up with this beautiful, whatever it may be, in whatever industry you're in, you know, whatever that end project is, end product, whatever that may be. Trusting others, giving, you know, and kind of empowering people with your trust is a big deal. And for a long time, I always felt like, oh, you know, that was like on me. But Winedale also taught me how important it was to me, how important it was for me to be trusted by others, and that it truly is it's mutual give and take, and working together and leaning on each other, and it, you know, on the days when you're not, you know, feeling it, someone's there to pick up that slack. I think that for me, it was one of the first experiences I had in that sort of group setting of doing something so difficult, but good, right? Doing something so challenging that kind of takes all of you, right? It's mental, it's emotional, it's physical. You know, you're out there in the heat all day, you know, struggling through, you know, even struggling through a monologue or lines or whatever it is, to have this group of people. And, you know, and I said this before, you start off as strangers, and at the end, you know, you're family, you know, you're more than that, right? Because you've leaned on each other and given and taken, all, you know, all of those things like that. For me, still plays into my life, to like it embedded that pretty deeply in me. So in all of the industries that I've been in, that bringing that team mindset is a go-to for me now, which it was not before I did Winedale. So I think that's a big one for me, and kind of the idea too is how much you can accomplish as a group in a short amount of time is pretty amazing to me. Like the sense of accomplishment I had, and I know we had as a circle at the end of the summer and at the end of that spring, was huge. Like I felt like I could go conquer the world, if not just by myself, with the team. So that's certainly been a big factor in my life.